listening to ComedySlamRadio.com. From our studios to the world, we bring you the finest in quality entertainment. So pop some popcorn, grab a smooch buddy, and settle in for another fine show from ComedySlamRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in to the Let's Be Frank show on ComedySlamRadio.com, where we bring you national touring and celebrity comedian interviews. Follow us on Twitter at Let's Be Frank Show, and if you miss our live broadcast, you can find us on Stitcher Radio and iTunes at Let's Be Frank's podcast, and please contact us with any questions or information about advertising and sponsoring at Let's Be Frank with Dave Frank at yahoo.com. Thank you for tuning in to another show on Comedy Slam Radio, the Let's Be Frank show, the number one show on the station. But you know what? Today I decided that my intro sucks. I think
Really?
it
Just
sucks.
like that?
Yeah. I got Gwiggy in studio. I got Victor Varnado on the phone. How you doing, Victor?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good.
What do you think? Did my intro suck? The Comedy Slam one, you know, it was there, and then you got me, and I'm starting to think I sound like a bitch, and I got to amp up how my show starts.
It does sound like a sleepy narrator.
Yeah, we got to pick that shit up. Nolan, we got to redo some shit. I'm mad at myself. It's all my fault. I came up with the wording and everything. It's been weeks, and today I decided I suck out of the random blue. I get a week off. I had a week off, no show, Victor, and now I think I suck.
Yeah, you seem much more energetic in I guess, person than you are on that recording. So
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, we need
gotta
to
do
amp
something
that
about
up.
it.
I mean, it just sounds like there's like a bad hippie band playing behind you or something like that. One of those, I don't know, wandering dinner music trios or something. Would you like to hear something while you eat, sir?
I do not like noise to distract me while I'm eating. I'm fat, and I like to be left alone. Just leave me alone. Give me a big-ass plate or whatever I order, and that's it.
Gotcha.
So, Victor, I want to thank you for taking some time out. I know you got a busy schedule. You're not only a comedian, but you're also an actor, a writer, director. I mean, you wear all these hats. How busy is your day?
I wear a lot of hats. Not everybody does that.
No. And especially not a lot of comedians.
Big head. Especially not comedians? What do you mean? Comedians always wear a lot of hats, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They got to be their own cheerleaders, their own business people all the time.
In that aspect, yes. And that's everything evolved around comedy. But you're doing comedy, you're doing movies, not only your own movies, but you've been in other movies. So, I mean, I don't know that every comedian has that aspiration of movies. I know everybody, they hope everybody wants a sitcom or, it seems like they settle for YouTube videos now. But to branch out that much, and you're still a pretty young guy, although you have been in the industry for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of movies. I think there's not a necessity though. I started creating these projects because nobody has ever woken up and said, "Man, could I use a black albino in my next project?" Nobody's ever done that.
Nobody but Eddie Murphy,
I have to do
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Nobody big, nobody of any value of all.
Well, no, but although any movie that I've ever been in, it was always me convincing people that I should be in the movie.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, hey, wait a second. I know you weren't thinking of a black albino, but listen to this for just a second. Listen to me.
What's the response from an Eddie Murphy or an Arnold Schwarzenegger when you show up and you're like, no, you need to put me in the movie? What's the awkward look? How do you talk these guys into that?
Well, I don't have to talk those guys into that. I just have to talk. I've talked the producers and directors into it. They don't deal with the individual castings as much. But I don't have to talk them into it. But it is definitely neat to see like how they react to me when I'm on the set with them after a while. Definitely. Eddie Murphy was really cool because he, I don't know, he didn't know what to think of me, but he heard that I was a comedian, so he sent his crew out to check me out and to see if I was funny. And they reported back that I was funny, and then after that, he was really nice to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Go check out if he's funny. Find out if he meets my approval.
So I mean, I guess he's got a lot going on. I'm sure that he doesn't want to be seen with a terrible comedian.
No, I agree 100%. But I mean, I watched a bunch of the different comedy clips and things that you've done. some of the little bit of the sketch comedy that you got out there. Very, very creative. You're not always totally dirty, but you're not always totally clean. I mean, some really interesting stuff. I saw you talking about, and it was kind of crazy, but you got onto one of the things that your worst porn that you like the worst, and it was bestiality, and you just went down this whole thing. And it was just, it was, at first, it was gross, and then it was like, oh, it went from gross to like kiddie, like, I don't know, like teenage funny. It was like just crazy shit. He went from banging a pig to molesting a bear nicely. I don't know. And then the bear enjoying it and dancing. It was great.
That was a good bit.
I sometimes challenge myself with bits. Like once I wrote a bit, and I wanted to write the grossest thing that I could write without using any swear words, and I wrote a bit like that recently too.
All right.
Nice.
So you started off doing improv before you got into comedy. So what got you interested in doing improv?
Wow, it's weird that you separate improv from comedy like that.
Well, it's two different kinds of comedy,
Well, I
man.
think what he really means, I guess, is really how you got into improv and then go into stand-up. Really, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you started doing improv and then you got into comedy. I'm like,
Obviously,
wait
yeah.
a second.
Well, I guess I look at them different.
Well, they're just two different forms of comedy. I mean, there's
They're two
improv and then there's stand-up comedy, which are two different beasts.
Yeah, I don't know that I can handle doing improv at all. I tried it once. You were there. It didn't go well, Quickie. It wasn't good.
It usually doesn't go good the first time. But yeah, I started out in improv, and I went and started doing a lot of stand-up because when you're doing improv, often you have to rely on other people, and when you're doing stand-up, you don't. So that's why I moved to stand-up, because sometimes I had ideas about things that I wanted to do that I didn't necessarily want to try and work in with other people, so I started doing stand-up so I could do things on my own.
Nice.
I mean, I haven't left the world of improv. In fact, some stand-up sets I do are actually all improv. It depends on where I am and what I'm doing.
Nice.
Where's some of your favorite places to do comedy? When you're traveling, any favorite states or cities?
I have a very different view of traveling and doing comedy because I don't usually do clubs. I do mostly colleges. So states are different to me because I go to colleges where generally like everybody is like starved for entertainment. Everybody's smart. I don't necessarily get the feel of different states the same way other comics will. Although I will say that of the types of colleges I go to, medical colleges are my favorite because everyone's old enough to drink and they're smart. Put that together, and that's like a great comedy audience.
Nice. No, they're not allowed to drink in the college shows, are they? Or, I mean, are you doing actual theater shows at the actual college? Or
yeah, there's not a lot of drinking at college shows except at shows where everybody's of age. Like,
okay.
So at medical colleges, these people have already gone through school, and now they're like in their graduate medical programs, so they can all just like hang out and have beers.
Oh, okay. So they just sneak it into the theater or something like that, or what? Or is it just these
they,
special rooms or something?
They let them drink because everyone's
cool.
of age.
Oh, okay. That's what I was kind of curious. I wasn't connecting. I'm sorry.
See, this is one of the people that you would not like at your show, Gwiggy.
Yeah, I'm not that smart this
You're
morning.
Not that smart. You did not eat your Wheaties, anything. And did you just say this morning?
Whatever you think.
It's after 9:00 at night, man.
This is just time to wake up now. What are you
What
talking
what are
about?
you new? Are you new on the show?
Probably.
Oh man. So what's one of the projects you're working on? The project that you're working on now? It's another movie?
Right now I'm working on a movie called Realm of LARP. It was actually a web series that is getting turned into a movie right now.
Nice. Yeah, that was actually like a reality show in a sense, wasn't it? That's how it was built
Sort of.
originally.
I mean, it's not quite like any reality show I think anybody's ever seen. It is LARPers are live action role players. They're people who go out and it's kind of like if they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but they dress up in armor and somebody dresses up as a monster and they spend a weekend at a camp and they like play out their entire adventure. And they have rules like, you can hit people and they keep track of hit points or damage and then they decide like who wins different fights. And so the Realm of LARP is where I follow people around while they're LARPing and I shoot it like it's Lord of the Rings. and I add in visual effects when they cast spells on each other. So
That's awesome.
it's just like them on their adventures. That's what the Realm of LARP is all about.
Wild. Quiggy,
Yeah, it's great.
Do you like to LARP, Quiggy?
I have never LARPed.
I don't believe you.
I'll check my records or something like that. I may have been accused of LARPing once, but it's been
Were
thrown
you
out.
guys high school Dungeons and Dragons players?
No, never actually.
That's because Quiggy sucks. I played me some Dungeons and Dragons like a motherfucker. Are you kidding me?
I played Dungeons and Dragons in high school for sure.
Hell yeah, man! You had to play something when they took that little paper football you used to make. They took that away. You break out the Dungeons and Dragons dice, man.
See, I was that uncool. I was that uncool in high school that the geeks that were playing Dungeons and Dragons wouldn't let me come play with them. That was about how bad it was. So that was, I mean, but so
turned away from Dungeons and Dragons. I've never heard of that before.
now, how did you first come up with the idea to do the Realm of LARP as a web series first?
I came up with the idea because I had heard about LARPing, and I thought it was amazing. Like I didn't even know people did it. And so when I heard what it was, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that more people don't know what this is. I want to find out about it. And then I went and looked at different documentaries about LARPers, and strangely enough, like a lot of the documentaries that were about LARPers they were basically looking down at the people who participate in LARP. And I was like, I think it would be more fun not to look down at them, but to like elevate their fake reality into and elevate it into what they imagine themselves to be. And so I looked around and nobody had ever done that before. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to just like show them going through their crazy adventure?
Very cool. Yeah. And these are actual people and everything too. You didn't really script them out too much during the web series?
No.
That's awesome.
I let them do what they wanted to do.
Wow, that's awesome. Came out nice. I saw a couple of the episodes the other day, just getting ready for this, and I was like, it was pretty impressive stuff. Because I remember you sitting there saying with all the extra stuff you added in just for the spells and stuff and the arrows, I was like, that was cool. So.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not you're into LARPing, it's still fun to watch because it's fun to see how much they're into playing it.
I agree 100%.
Now,
and hey,
just one other question too: Are the people that were in the web series or any of them going to end up in the movie that you're doing now? Or actually, yeah, because the movie is actually made from some of the footage in the web series and then footage that wasn't used in the web series. It's really a fuller experience. Nice.
Very
what
nice.
The whole LARPing thing is, yeah.
And we have just had a surprise guest
come
into the it was surprise guest coming to the studio. Say hello to everybody. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. This is Tia.
Tia, who? What do you think? You're fucking Cher? You have to say your last name.
No, I do not. No, I do not.
What do you mean? No, you do not.
I don't have to. I don't have to.
All right, it's
we'll
Tia.
post it online later.
Whoever we're speaking with, how are you?
How's it going, Tia? You don't sound friendly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She actually this is Victor Varnado, okay, and she just came walking by the window, and she's another local open mic comedian, and
right.
I just waved her to come in, and she had no. I mean, she knows I do a show, but she didn't know who was on. We're talking to Victor. Victor is a comedian, an actor, director, writer. He's done all sorts of stuff. He's done some movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Eddie Murphy, and he's directing some of his own movies. He was just the LARPing, which, did you know what LARPing is?
I am so sorry. I don't want to sound mean, but I have not heard of that.
LARPing is live action role play. Now, don't be thinking sexual, although
I know, because I immediately went to wow. So, yeah, that's where I went.
So he's making a movie on it, so you get caught in, and have you ever LARPed? Come on. Would you LARP with me?
Not with you, Dave.
Would you LARP with Quiggy?
No.
Victor is pretty famous. Would you LARP with him?
Victor already thinks I'm mean, but that might work well into the role.
Would you like to have a LARP mean LARP? Victor is very interesting.
I've already made a terrible impression on Victor.
You make a terrible impression on people in general.
Okay, well, so you're not left out of anything, Victor.
Great. Are you guys? So you guys say you're all open micers?
We all are.
For the most part,
most part,
I think everybody's around 2 to 3 years. I think Gwiggy's probably done the most with his
4.5.
about 4.5. I'm to the point where really I get some guest sets. I do some paid work. I have a gig coming up on the 14th. So I guess I'm a little above open micer status, but I'm not above showing up to open mics by any means. I do more open mics than paid gigs by far. I think I might be cranking about the $200 mark this year in comedy, maybe $3.
How would you rate each other's comedy?
I think Gwiggy sucks, and
He's being polite.
Tia has great tits, and that brings her up to at least like a 6 out of 10.
God, I
And-
hate you, Davey.
You don't like your tits?
No, I said I hate you.
Right, but why do you hate me? Because I like your tits?
Oh, that's what you said. No.
No, what did you think I said?
Well, just for making the remark. I think it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, but I'm just a dumb fat fuck. You got to spell these things out to me. But actually, I actually do enjoy your comedy, though, because you tell jokes that are very smart. People have to pay attention and be kind of quick-witted. I tell fat guy jokes. Everybody can laugh at a fat guy joke. I appreciate your humor because it has to be thought out. It's my opinion of your humor.
Oh, well, thank you.
Of Tia's humor?
Yes, I think that you take a lot. Do we want to talk about what you do? Some kind of social work for your normal profession right now.
True.
And I think that leads into some of the craziness and some of the weird conversations that you have on stage.
Victor, are you bored to death yet?
No, I love hearing about like where people get their inspiration from.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, that's
This is
got to
like-
be part of
I
it.
think that's important.
Now you've apparently never listened to my fucking show because we always talk to comedians and ask them questions. Do you consider yourself a comedian?
Not at this point, no.
You're-
That'd be a no.
Why don't you just like punch me in the face or something? Are you trying to make my show suck?
No.
Why are you here?
No, really. I just stopped by to say hi. If this is going to be a problem, I can go.
No, I want you to take part and have fun and
Tia,
smile.
where's your courage?
I just don't want to wreck anybody's radio show. I'm already perceived as mean, so I don't want to be even, meaner and wreck his show on top of
okay,
it.
I want you
Who
to.
you as mean?
You
Victor,
did.
you're the one who said I was mean.
I never said that. I said you don't sound friendly.
See? You're twisting his words now. See what you did there?
Oh, I
Why are you
see.
women
Say it
always
like
got to
it's
twist
that.
people's words?
I think this is all on tape, and we can go back and verify.
It is.
It doesn't
Yes,
have to all
please
be
go
on.
back and verify and find out how wrong you are.
No, I think he said you sound mean. Isn't that what he said?
No,
That's
I
what
did
thought
not. I
heard.
said you sound friendly.
Listen,
And when you look
said
it
I
up,
sound
send me an
friendly?
apology
Unfriendly.
email. Thank you.
Or not friendly.
not friendly, unfriendly.
I said you don't sound friendly. That's exactly
Oh,
what I said.
okay. Okay. Well,
She's actually pretty friendly, and my friend Sheila, who likes nobody, loves you.
that's why we get along, is because we're both just rotten bitches, I guess.
Nice.
The truth shall set you free. What do you think? Finally, you're coming out of your shell. Explore your inner bitch and tell us about the bitch. How was your day today? Tell Victor. Do you want to know how her day was today?
No, Victor does not want to know how my day was today.
Please tell me how your day was.
Oh, yes. I know he's just dying to hear how my day was today.
Yes.
It was horrible. It was Monday, so
I had a
nothing
great
else
day
to say.
today.
Good. I'm glad.
Why was your day so horrible? Did someone kick your kitty?
No, not at all. No, that's not what happened.
You said no like 4 times. What
I
happened?
know. Nothing.
What
It's
happened?
really unimportant and petty and ridiculous on a radio show, talking to a perfect stranger who I don't even know.
His name is Victor. Would you like to see him?
Yes, I would like to see Victor.
She would like to see Victor.
That's Victor.
This is Victor.
Oh,
Victor?
hello, Victor.
Hello, Victor.
Hi, how's
Now-
it going?
Now talk to Victor. She's looking at you, Victor. You can talk to him now.
Okay, nice to meet you, Victor. Sorry if I came off a little
Unfriendly.
unfriendly,
Bitchy.
There we go.
mean, bitchy,
I
whatever.
invite you on my show and you come on and you offend my guests.
I know. I apologize,
You
Victor.
get 12 spankings.
Would you wish?
Yes, I do. I would like to spank a lot of girls.
Yes, he would.
Is this whole show just an excuse for you guys to flirt with Tia?
Pretty much, yeah.
No, because normally she doesn't come here. If I knew I can get her to come here on a regular basis, yes, it would be. But she just live action role played and showed up.
Yes.
See, I told you I'm horrible at improv. I just start thinking with the wrong head. They throw a girl in the mix, and I'm all fucking kabooey.
It's a shame.
Did I say
sorry
hello
to hear that.
Yeah.
You actually just added the word kabooey in there too. I don't even know what the hell that is, dude.
I don't know. But I forgot to say, and this is going to sound weird, but I forgot to say in the beginning of the show, good morning to my Aunt Toby. Because I always say, I'm going to start to remember to say good morning to my Aunt Toby every morning. Because she doesn't listen to the show until 4 o'clock in the morning because this is too late for her to stay up.
She the only one watching now? Is that the problem?
No, she's not watching now, but when she gets up tomorrow morning, she's going to hear, good morning, Aunt Toby. From her somewhat not even close to famous, nobody stand-up comic.
Now all the sentiment is just gone from that you had to explain it like that. And
she'll laugh her ass off about it.
It's just awful.
It'll be good for her. That's all that matters.
Nice.
All right, so why don't you guys tell me one of your favorite jokes that you do? Each of you do. And then I will rate your jokes.
You'll rate my
I like this. Do you want to go first, Tia? Can I request a joke?
Okay, we'll see.
I like it when you send your kid into the park.
Oh, it's a dark joke, Victor, and you already think kind of poorly of me.
He doesn't think poorly of you. This is just go with it.
I guarantee you that however dark your joke is, I've probably said or heard darker.
He told a joke about fucking a bear.
Okay, all right.
You should put the mic a little, the phallic symbol of the microphone, move it closer to your face. So
Are you guys having trouble hearing me?
I just want to make sure.
He just wants a big, large rod in front of your face a lot more.
Okay. So, all right. Here's when I was a kid growing up, we were poor. So when I wanted stuff like candy, my mom would have to take me down to the park, and we'd have to go look for the creepy guys in the windowless vans down there.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd be like, "Listen, honey, he's not going to have to touch you for very long." Now remember, mommy's PMSing, so get some chocolate. I don't want to have to send you back. And then she'd those creepy guys could be quick because they got away with me a few times, and my mom would have to call me in and report me as missing. But that really kind of worked out because she could never afford to pay for my school pictures, but we've got this great collection of milk cartons.
I think that goes over great on stage. I think it's a smart joke.
Nolan liked it.
Nolan liked it.
Nolan, she's a hot blonde, so of course I liked it.
And with
I'm looking at two heavy-set guys and a hot blonde. I mean, of course anything she says is going to be...
Very true.
And I believe there's an albino on the phone, so...
Yes.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Hot blonde always wins.
I think that makes
next.
Yeah, he's like,
did you want to rate her, or were you going to rate it?
He's not even going to rate it. He's like, yeah.
No, I am rating it.
I
wrote it down. I'm telling you guys the ratings at the end.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm writing down. I wrote down Tia. I wrote down Lusted and in a van, so that I can remember exactly what it was about.
Gwiggy, go for it.
That wouldn't have been the joke I would have picked, Victor, just so you know.
Do you want to do a different joke?
No. I did the request. That's okay. We'll do the request.
High five.
All right. I guess one of my favorite ones now is it's more of a visual joke. I like doing a lot of bits where I can just sort of pause.
Wait, who's talking now?
This is Gwiggy. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, and the visual is going to work so well on the radio, Gwiggy. It's going to be awesome. That's going to work.
Gwiggy spelled Gwiggy.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Basically, I used to work at a pizza place, which is kind of like fast food in a mall food court, and basically it was such a shit job. Like the janitors would even kind of walk by, look at me, and kind of go, "Damn, your life sucks, dude," or something like that. But the thing that's really bad about that particular job is you're in this small condensed space where your restaurant is, and the menu is like right behind you. So pretty much all day when people come up to you, like every day of the week, someone would come up to me and just stand there and stare at the menu for a few minutes, and then I'll just sit there and pause for about a good 30 seconds on stage. Just kind of act like I'm looking at the menu, kind of dumbfounded.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at you dumbfounded right now. I think you lost points for your joke as soon as you had to spell your name.
I know. And then after standing there for about a good 30 seconds or something, moving around a little bit, I'm just go like, "Nah, thanks. I'm gonna go get Chinese."
That's
It's a very visual joke, but
Yes.
I like doing
I've
those
seen
jokes.
that joke, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
It
but
is. It's very funny.
so the joke you wanted to be judged was the one that
I know one of my visual ones. It's one of my favorites. That's why I say that's what's.
Awesome. Next.
All right. Next. He's like, on to the next. So I'm not going to try to do anything as elaborate as these guys. One of my favorite jokes is one of the ways you can tell you're becoming a supersized fat guy is you have more X's on your shirt than you do in your little black book. Nice and simple, to the point.
I've got one. Can I play?
Sure. Nolan the
Wait,
engineer
Wait,
slash
who's just
Grace.
talking?
Nolan is the engineer and owner of Comedy Slam Radio, and he decided to tell a joke.
Okay, and that was just who was just talking. I'm sorry.
That was
the
that
joke.
was Fat Davey that told the fat joke.
Okay, got it.
The guy that begged you and offered you no valuable anythings for coming on the show.
You got it. It's written down.
And what's your joke, Nolan?
My joke is it's a joke that I've had with me for a while. Do you think in Japan when they go to use the microwave they say let's nuke it?
Cricket, 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 cricket.
That's a good ass joke.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Tia likes
Tia
it.
likes it.
Everybody loves it. It's my fucking best joke ever.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why you are now an engineer.
That's why I'm doing your mom.
You are not doing my mom. But let's move on from that one.
This isn't your mom in here? She said she was.
Are you my mom now? Will you be my mommy?
Mommy.
Mommy,
No.
I need milk. No.
No.
All right, so
No.
I did
Is
not.
the milk low fat?
This is becoming horrifying.
What? Why is it horrifying?
Why? Because
Yeah, why is it horrifying?
Davey is asking me for milk. That scares the shit out of me.
I didn't ask you for milk right from the teat. You might have insinuated that.
What the hell?
All right. So,
Okay, so
All
here's,
right.
on a scale, I gave you guys either a 1, 2, or 3.
With 3 being
3 being the best, 2 being average, I guess, and 1 being the worst. 2 of you got 1s, 1 of you got a 2, and 1 of you got a 3. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion, and it doesn't really mean anything. But 2 of you got 1s, 1 of you got a 2, and 1 of you got a 3. Can you guess which got which?
Nolan got the fucking 3.
I hope not.
Okay. I got one of the ones.
Hey, listen,
'Cause I'm
I
sitting
am-
here explaining a visual joke. Sounds like it's just terrible.
I am going to pray that since it's my fucking show and I'm Fat Davey, that I at least got the 3. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe I should have went with a stronger, longer joke. I don't know. I think.
All right, I'll reveal the answers, at least that I have.
Is there a
I
prize?
gave Nolan,
Do we get a prize?
What?
Do we get a prize? No prize?
No, I don't have any prizes for you. You guys invited me on the show. You should give me a prize. That's the way it should work.
If Tia was
guys-
more freeing with the milk,
Stop.
baby,
Just
I don't know.
stop. Just we can quit with the milk.
Move on.
Why do they keep saying they want milk? Do you have big breasts or something?
No, not particularly. I'm not sure.
They might not be
Okay.
huge, but they look like they're more fun than my own.
This is why I come on the show so we can talk about boobs. Yeah.
All right, I gave Nolan a 1.
Sweet.
I gave Dave a 2.
All right, I can handle it
I
too.
gave Griggy a 1.
Woo!
Sitting there.
3.
Did I tell you your joke is phenomenal?
Thanks.
You and what? Okay, so since you got a 3 on the joke I recommended,
Yes.
do you think that it's fair that you should judge the joke that she thought she should have done?
I don't care.
Let's. What would have been the joke you would have done? Since you got a 3 on my joke, what would you have done?
It's 2 bits. It's a two-parter now.
Listen, I didn't ask you to explain what it was. I said do the damn joke. So Victor can
Damn.
judge it.
Bossy
Little
here. Look at this
bossy.
crowd.
Did I tell you that I love you yet?
No.
In a nice way? I love you. Thank you for stopping by the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Think
From
she'll
the
come
mean
back?
bitch.
You think she'll ever come back? Am I talking myself out
Probably
of a hole?
not.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Victor will ever come back. Victor, are you having a good time?
I'm having a good time so far.
Okay. How long you guys been on? How long this been going?
28 minutes.
28 minutes.
Do you know how many minutes that means are left?
Oh, I'm gonna punch you.
This is great.
Okay, Victor, you really want to hear this joke? Why you're gonna make me do all my jokes on your show?
Victor, we could just end it. Hold on. Officially,
What?
let's move on. She don't want to fuck around with a new joke. Let's move on to a new topic.
We can move on to the new topic. You can tell the joke. I don't care either way.
I'm ready to move on. I think if we
Fine with me.
Maybe we'll give her a minute later. Let's go to when you're working on your material. You said you do a lot of improv. Are you doing more
Absolutely.
improv? So you do more improv on stage than any real written out stand up?
It depends on the show, but I would say most of the time it's like 70-30. How's that?
All right, and that's 70 is
70
improv.
written, 70% written, 30% just fucking around, figuring stuff out.
All right, and so that's, and you know, and I guess anybody who really says that as you do comedy, you get a little bit more comfortable with doing that little freestyle, not as scripted. And I just started to, it's hard for me to get comfortable with that because since I am still doing open mics and you don't get that extra 10 minutes, you get up there for 5 and you're gone. You want to put your best foot forward. And then when you get lucky enough to get booked to do a 10 or 15 minute spot, there's not that much of an advantage to take time because you want to make sure you get invited back or everybody around you wants you back again. So sometimes it's a little risky. So for me, very few shows allow me to really fly off and do a little improv off of the audience.
I think that here's why I improv a lot is because I feel like you're trying to do something more than have them get the same feelings that they would get from seeing you on television. You want them to feel like they're part of a special event. Like you want to make this a quote unquote night to remember for the audience in one way or another. And sometimes part of that is really being inclusive of them in the show. And or at least that's how I feel.
All right. So how do you, when you know you're going up there and you have so much scripted material, how do you kind of pick out your spots where you want to veer off from the written stuff? Do you go by, obviously, I guess, the audience reaction? And have you ever thought the audience, like you can go one way and they've turned on you?
Yeah, sometimes it's audience. Sometimes you can't even do written jokes. Sometimes if you don't talk to the audience, they won't respond. I've been in shows like that where like the audience really responds when you're doing crowd work, but then they don't respond at all to the like written material because they really enjoy it more when it's all about them. But I've also been the other way around where like if the audience doesn't want you to talk to them at all and they'd rather just see you do jokes. I mean, it just depends. I think you have to be very aware of like what the audience is doing. I feel like also there's some comics who always can bring the audience to exactly where they want. It seems like they can always find the audience and bring them to exactly where they want. I mean, I think there's very few comics like that, but I think there are some comics who can always do that. Most good comics can do it most of the time, but very few people can do it all the time.
Hey, you have a link when you go to your website, and it was an ABC 2020.
Yep.
So what did they do? A special dedicated to you there?
They were actually talking about. Do you remember when it was big news that people with albinism were being attacked in Tanzania? Do you remember that news story?
No.
All right, that was a news story. Anyway, if you pay attention to the world around you, you'll hear things called world news. And people with albinism were being attacked in Tanzania, and they were doing a story on that. And then as part of that story, they wanted to do a feature on me being a person with albinism, because a lot of people with albinism, I think, are put upon by society, like have been teased when they were younger, and some people are very shy about it. I mean, I myself am not shy about it at all. And my sister also has albinism. She's not shy about it at all.
Did you grow into not being shy? Were you shy at first, and you was there ever a period where you really got teased and it was hard?
But that's the thing. I did get teased, but it was never hard because luckily I was smart, and so I was always better at giving insults to people than they were at giving me insults.
Cool.
So it was not a problem when I was growing up. And in fact, I also joined the wrestling team so that I could beat people up. I just wanted to learn how to fight. And so when I was growing up, like I think the younger I am, like when I was like maybe in elementary school, like sometimes it really bothered me. But then as I got older and the smarter I got, the more it made no sense to me to be upset about somebody trying to tease me.
Cool.
Now, when you first started doing stand-up and talking about I can't even say it right, albinism, was it hard to get into that? Was it sort of like a taboo area because it's somewhat based on race too? And was that ever? Did you ever have any real bad experiences where you just almost booed off the stage or anything, or told not to come back anywhere or something?
No, actually, I'll tell you what actually because I talk about it so frankly, I think people are very open to it, and they actually ask me questions about it at the shows, which is exactly what I would prefer. I think sometimes people get the wrong idea because I'm never on stage saying that the fact that I'm an albino is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I always talk about how people perceive it, but I'm never like, for instance, if somebody's 300 pounds on stage, okay? Sometimes they'll make fun of themselves for being fat, and they'll be like, I'm a fat slob, and blah, 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 blah. I'm never, like, on stage being like, I'm a freak, and that's not my gig.
Yeah.
But I always talk about the wrong or interesting ways other people perceive me, or myths about albinism, but it's or even jokes about how it's going to use albinism to my advantage, but it's never me making fun of myself. And so I think sometimes when people don't listen, they think that when I come off stage, they think that they can walk up to me and be like, what's up, my little albino buddy? And that's not how I roll at all. I don't respond to that, and I will get in people's faces.
Wow, that's awesome.
Now, does size intimidate you? Because I'm a massively large fat man. So if I came up to you and said, my little albino brother, would you just beat up on a 350-pound man just as easy and not care?
I'm not saying I physically attack everybody who says anything.
Well, no, I meant verbal.
Like
I did mean verbally abused. I didn't think that you would physically attack me, but
I would verbally attack people. Once I was doing a show, I was opening for Christian Finnegan.
Okay.
And we were at this club, and I was opening for him. And then afterwards, these two women came up, and they were like Midwest, didn't understand, I guess. But they came up, and they were like, hey, we want pictures. And then the two women got around me, and they're like, oh, my gosh, we never had a picture with a real albino before. And I was like, yeah, wouldn't it be even better if I was a talking hippopotamus?
Awesome.
Which me and Christian laughed at, and the two women didn't understand at all why it was so funny.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
So now, how long have you actually been in comedy? Overall?
About 12 years.
12 years. And I know it was in like 1999 is when you did the movie with Arnold, and then you did a movie in 2002 with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
But like
Right.
that's seemingly right towards the beginning of your whole career.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, it's pretty phenomenal to start off with that. So did you have more acting credits and stuff prior to getting into comedy? I mean, it kind of appeared that way when I was looking at your bio and the IMDb pages.
Yeah, I mean, when I very first started, I was really going after acting a lot. But then when I first got a couple of roles, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie was basically I was originally hired by a different director, and then my part was supposed to be bigger. And then a new director, the director that hired me, got fired, and a new director came on like a week before they started shooting. They cut my part way, way down, and then they changed my character name from the name, like I had a character who had a name, and then it changed me from that to albino in the movie. So then I was like kind of disappointed in that because it was actually for a bigger role. The Eddie Murphy movie was cool because in that movie, like people often see the movie and they're like, hey, blah, 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 you played the albino in the Eddie Murphy movie, but actually in the Eddie Murphy movie, nobody even mentions that I'm an albino. It's just me just goofing around and being funny.
Right.
And so that movie, I got a bigger part. Which is more along the lines of what I want to do. I mean, I don't want to deny ever that I'm an albino in a movie, but I don't want the movie to be just about the fact that I'm an albino. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be in a movie just for them exploiting the fact that I'm an albino, and that's all that I'm in the movie for. However, that Eddie Murphy movie was a flop. So then, I've done other stuff since then, but I've also turned down stuff like when people approach me and they really just want to exploit the fact that I'm an albino, and it doesn't seem like it's a role that's going to forward my career in the way that I want to forward my career. I don't do it. I've done funny roles being an albino, like I did My Name is Earl, and I was like a gang leader of a bunch of albinos in My Name is Earl. But there was also a thing where it wasn't a thing where they were like trying to insult us or say they were freaks or anything like that. It was just a funny, weird thing.
Definitely. And everything on that show is hysterical. Everything named. How did I just mess up the name of the show?
My Name is Earl.
My Name is Earl. I almost said everything about Earl. That's horrible. Tia must have me shaken with all her beauty. Did you say? Oh,
I don't know. What does Tia look like?
Blonde.
Describe Tia.
Tia has like two-tone blonde, and would you say it's like a reddish strawberry color hair underneath there?
I have no idea. I don't know what it is.
Well, look at it. It's right there.
I don't know. Brown.
Brown, so blonde and brownish. She's white with kind of bluish hazel eyes. Is that a good description?
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, she got a nice rack, and
so awesome, Davey.
Her chest is very appealing, I think, to the male eye.
Much more poetic there.
Really.
It does look
just
like
more words.
It does look like she's packing some really good watermelons in the trunk too.
Yeah, that's just really.
I've never even heard that expression before. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
All right, you got a nice. Would you prefer you have a nice juicy ass?
I would prefer none of these descriptions.
But he's asking me to describe you. How would you prefer it? She's a blonde, and she has a body, and there's arms and a leg attached to it.
He wants her exact weight and measurements and everything, too.
Oh, I'd say about...
No, that's not necessary.
No,
I'm kidding, dude. Sorry.
Please.
I'm ready to go in there with some totally off-the-wall numbers that will make no sense. What's your description?
Huh?
Quiggy, you throwing a description?
Really, this isn't
She's over there on your right. That's about the best of
I'm not that hard to see.
There you go.
You can see her on the TV. She's in front of you.
Yeah, does he get this? Does
Victor, if you go watch this live you could check out all her beauty yourself.
I was looking for this link that you said, and I can't find it.
It's right
Where
on,
is it?
Right on the top of my page. It was put up by Nolan Ray on the Facebook.
And there's a link to.
It was probably just above my lovely ad advertising you coming onto this fabulous organized show.
All right, I'm going to go on. Okay, let's keep talking about whatever we're talking about.
I don't know what we're talking about.
So keep the show moving, guys. Come on.
There you go. Somebody take control of this shit.
All right. Can I ask you a little bit about directing? How did you first get into directing different things? Was The Realm of LARP one of your first things, or?
No, Realm of LARP, I think, is my fourth big project that I've ever directed. My first big project that I directed was actually a movie for Warner Brothers called Twisted Fortune, which never came out, unfortunately, because the producer of that movie, who is not me, basically lied to Warner Brothers and breached his contract, and then they shut the movie down and everything was seized.
Wow. Did you still get paid?
Sadly. What?
Did you at least still get paid?
They still owe me $20,000.
Oh wow, that's messed up.
Get $20,000.
I think you need to go get that albino gang from the Earl show and let's go take them down.
Yeah, Dave's on a plane to help you out in about.
If I had my own gang, I'd be so happy. But that movie was that movie was the first thing I did, and so after it got seized and it never came out, then I was like, oh my god, I don't want to be the director who had his shot and then the movie never came out. So then I invested some of my own money in this thing called the Awkward Comedy Show, which was a showcase of alternative black comics, which had myself, Eric Andre, Hannibal Buress in it. And then I invested my own money in that, and that's how I started on the road to like doing more projects and bigger, better projects. when that one finally sold to Viacom, that was a big turn for the positive side. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, how I got started with directing, the very first things I directed were just shorts. I just directed a bunch of shorts. I just really wanted to direct, and I knew nothing about directing, so I just started making things. Nice. And then I would show them people, and they'd be like, "That sucks," and I'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna make it better," and I would keep making more stuff until I got to the point where people were like, "That doesn't suck."
Nice. How do you start off directing a project? What are some of the first things you do just as a director and stuff like that? I mean, obviously you pick out your project, but where do you start from?
I
mean, that's a pretty broad question, but.
Well, how do you start off as a director in general, or how do you start directing a specific piece?
A specific piece, basically. What do you usually like to do?
I read the script. I try to envision how I want to communicate whatever ideas it's trying to show, and then I often storyboard. Storyboarding, I think, is a great way to put down like how you want to tell a story visually, and so I do that all the time. Are you interested in directing yourself?
I never have, but I was curious how you started it. But yeah, that does sound interesting. Yeah, I think I could eventually. Hopefully, I mean the way you started it, saying you just did a lot of trial and error. That's awesome that you did it just like that. Yeah.
A lot of people who are into directing now say that you don't even necessarily have to go to film school to learn how to direct, because everything you want to know about directing, people are telling you for free on the internet. Like almost everything technically you can learn on the internet, but as far as like how to be an emotional director, that's not really taught on the internet. But technically everything you need to know about how to hold the camera, how to set up lights, how to do your sound, how to do your post-production, how to do editing, like all of that is on the internet. You can look it all up for free.
Wow, that's cool.
Is that where you got most of your experiences from? Is from the internet, or did you spend some time in school yourself?
I went to college for media for children. That wasn't really about directing. It was more about writing and kind of conceptualizing things. I actually never finished. I had a scholarship for playwriting, but I never finished college. So I guess I learned most of it on my own or on the internet.
Very cool.
Great. So actually,
to be honest, most of it is trial and error. I learned most everything from like trial and error, like working through stuff, because that's the best teacher. That's better than anything else.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know, I gotta say, I'm flipping here through while I'm listening to you on the IMDb page, and I just see a movie that I kind of remember, and I didn't even realize it, but back in 1996, you were in Full Moon Rising.
Oh yeah.
That was a pretty good movie. I mean, that's been around, obviously a long time, but I wouldn't say that was no flop, as you put it, like the Eddie Murphy movie.
I don't think you know what Full Moon Rising is.
Why? You think it was a flop?
Who do you think was in Full Moon Rising?
I'm trying to remember.
What was that movie about?
I'm trying to remember the full story. Now he's putting me on the spot, this son of a gun. Now, see, quickly I can go to see who directed it and all the people that are in it.
Please, go right ahead and find out that it's not the movie you thought it was.
You know, I think I was thinking of a movie with Cher in it, actually. So, yeah, this is
You're
nothing.
Thinking of a movie with Cher in it?
Yeah, so I'm totally off. But thank you for totally making me look as stupid as I am on my show. I appreciate that, and I deserve every single second of it.
Look, all I'm going to say is if you had IMDb in front of you, you should have made sure about what you're talking about before.
Listen, please. And you know what? I am great with being beat up on my own show, because you know I have asked superstars stupider questions. That's all I'll say. So at least
May I bring it up?
No, sure, why not?
Please bring it up.
We had Martin Short on the show, and we had talked, and I can't remember the exact question, so I'm sure Google will rephrase.
I can remember the exact damn question. I was sitting right next to you.
And I know. So we were talking everything, all about his improv and all the different things he's done, and then out of nowhere, I have a brain fart, and I say, "What, Quiggy?"
So Martin, have you ever done any improv? Just like that. We're like, what?
Listen, sometimes I'm just off in my own world. I'm allowed to fuck up. It happens.
Nice little
hilarious.
conversation, and then you
That
ask
was a
him.
good one, though, Davey.
It's horrible.
That was
I will
awesome.
never live it down.
Never.
It's okay. And you know what? I'm okay with the fact that I fuck up sometimes. You know, because at least it means I'm putting out the effort. Apparently, I put out a shitty effort on this full moon rising thing, but fuck. I was hoping he was going to go with it. Instead, he just like, bam, bitch. Why are you bringing up shit you don't know what you're talking about?
You're putting out the effort to fuck this up? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hey, listen, no tits, no great ass, blonde, kind of boring chick to my right. Just go ahead and throw something in every now and again.
Thank you.
What do you want to talk about? Would you like to ask Victor a question?
No, I'm just very interested listening to Victor talk about what he does and how he does it, and probably somebody in my position is much better off listening than talking.
Well, is there
Well, you're on
something?
talk show though. I think that's a mistake.
Yes. If so, you have someone on with Victor who's got a lot of experience. He's done comedy. Maybe you want to ask him about some of the things, some of the steps he's taken to get to where he has in
Here's
comedy.
my question, Victor. Did you ever have an aha moment in your stand-up career where you just was like, I know for me as an open micer, I struggle, and I've talked to several comedians who are like, you know, you just hit this point where you hit an aha moment and everything just seems to work. Do you ever feel like you had that moment in your career doing stand-up?
Absolutely, and I think you have them over and over again. I really do. I think that you will have an aha moment, like when the first time that you're in front of an audience and like it seems like everything you do or say just has everyone rolling, and then you can get that continually, like more than once, like in a succession of shows that you've done.
Right.
Like you're gonna have aha moments about that. When you finally figure out like there's a rhythm to writing jokes, and it's not always about what you say, but it's also about like how you put your personality out there. You're gonna have an aha about that. I mean, I think that comics have them over and over again. I often find out that like, oh my God, if I write like this, it's so much better than how I've been writing for the past year or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I always find moments like that all the time. In fact, I think most recently I had a moment like that where I just realized like when I write jokes that kind of transcend my stand-up, meaning I write jokes where I usually been confident that I go on stage, I'm funny, people are like, you're really funny, and they love it. But then I got to the point where I also can write jokes where not only do I go on stage and they think I'm funny, but then they retain information from this joke so much that they start telling other people about the joke.
Right.
Or it becomes just part of who they are. Like I wrote a joke recently where it was about like a subject that I thought that plenty of people must have written the jokes about it, but what I found out is that nobody had written the joke exactly the way that I had written it. And then when I started doing the joke on stage, it was something that makes people think differently about the subject, I think, for the rest of their lives, which is kind of amazing to do when you do that, something like that.
Yes.
Absolutely. That was a great question.
Well, and then just
great answer.
he's so surprised.
I'm giving you encouragement. You didn't want to ask a question, and I'm saying it was a great question, and it got a great response.
I would follow up with.
Patrice O'Neill did a joke in his most recent special, Elephant in the Room. He did a joke at the top of his show where he was basically doing a joke about how long they search for white people when they go missing and how long they search for black people when they go missing.
Right.
And it's changed the way that every time they announce that someone is missing or they've been searching, that it changes the way that I think about that, because it always, that his bit about how they determine who to search for and how long they'll search for somebody based on their race always is in my head when I see another white lady missing in the news.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I'm talking about. Like when you write a joke that really changes the way people think about something. Like every time that comes up in the backup, every time that comes up from now on, I'll think about that joke he did.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Nice.
Right.
Just like every time I walk by a park, I think about your joke and the candy and the kids.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad I can remind somebody of child molestation. That's fabulous.
Yeah, every time he has a Snickers bar now, he starts driving by elementary schools.
No,
So,
I do not drive by elementary schools. I just go by regular parks where there's single moms. They're not allowed at the elementary schools.
How long would you say, Victor, before you really felt comfortable on stage?
Before I really felt comfortable on stage?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was immediately. Here's the sad thing is, I think most comedians feel comfortable on stage immediately, because especially people that are terrible, they get comfortable really fast. Because they don't. The people who are the worst always are the most comfortable on stage because they don't have any clue about how bad they're doing. They actually don't have a good gauge of whether or not they're good at comedy. So I think those people feel the most comfortable the quickest. And
That's
I
like
think
listening to JT.
I was going to say, I know people like that.
I bet you do. And
Yeah.
I think that comics, even comics that are good, like, I think it's a combination of the both. Like, I think of both. I mean, I think you'll say that you don't feel comfortable on stage, but you want to be on stage. You want to get on there and talk and do stuff. And, like, if someone's like, hey, do you want to go on stage? You don't turn them down. You go out and do it. So,
Right.
To an extent, even if you're saying you don't feel comfortable on stage, you already feel comfortable on stage. At least you want to be there.
Right.
Very good. I know for me, that was one of the reasons I wanted to get on stage. I was 38, and I thought by getting on stage would help me with my other career in sales, because I've been in commission on sales for, at the time, 23 years, and I just felt like it was stale and there was no excitement to it. And I had sold stuff in front of 10 or 15 people, so I was like, I could talk in front of anybody. Let me get on stage and see if I could talk in front of 20, 30, 40, and see if I feel comfortable. And I know my first aha moment when I felt like, okay, I could do it, was I had done one of the Side Splitters competitions. And although it was like it's just I don't know if you know the club down here, Side Splitters, but it's a pretty nice club. And it was a bringer. You bring guests and all that, but the room was full. So maybe there's 150 people in there, and most of them don't know me, and they're either comedians or friends of comedians. And I got my 5 or 6 minutes, and the majority of it, they laughed. And I was saying, you know what? That was when I said I felt like I can do it. You know, I may not have won the competition, but I made everybody laugh. And that was, for me, a standout moment, saying it's worth investing more time into it.
Yeah, that's cool. Those aha moments are always great when they happen, when you're just like, wow, I can really do this.
Have you had an aha moment yet, Tia?
It doesn't really feel like it.
No?
No. I mean, if you keep getting on stage, you're obviously going to keep getting better, but I don't think I've ever had anything that's like what I hear other comics describe as like they came to this point where everything just kind of clicked, and they don't sound like open micers anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's a huge difference between what I do on stage and what a seasoned headliner does on stage, and
Definitely.
Those I watch, I try and watch as many headliners as I can. And then, and like I said, I've spoken with some who have said that they just come a lot of people say about 7 years. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I mean, for that, maybe a final, but you've never had a really great set that just made me say, all right, or made you feel, say, all right, I'm comfortable with doing this and I want to keep doing it, or?
No, I've had very good sets that I was very happy with, and then go back out and 2 sets later just get kicked in the teeth. So I don't ever say, oh, hey, I've gotten somewhere, because usually if I have a good set, it means my next one's going to be gruesome. So.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've gotten anywhere as far as comedy, but, I feel like I got thick enough skin, and I get the majority of my jokes, at least most of the time, I'll get laughed at. So it's worth getting up on stage. If I'm to the point where I feel like getting up on stage is worth it. It's, whether I mean, sure, I'll have bad shows, but I think on the overwhelming majority of them are going to be pretty good. And that's the part why, if I think I'm going to suck every time, I'm going to stop doing it. That's just me. I know Gwiggy sucks all the time, but he thinks he can keep doing it. Although he does great with live action role play.
Oh, yeah. Get my arm ready.
So I think Tia needs a big group hug.
No, Tia's
You just want to touch her.
Tia's fine. Tia's fine. Well, thank you, Victor. I really appreciate your answers. It helps a lot.
No problem.
Would you say that with a little excitement, please, Tia?
Well, thank you, Victor. Your answers help so much. I'm so excited. I'm ready to go now. I'm on fire. Thank you.
I think that sounded better. That was so much more believable. Holy cow. So, Victor, we got the last couple of minutes in the show. As I said, the hour goes by pretty quick. I normally like to open up to shameless plugs. Let anybody plug any shows they have coming up. Tia, are you going to be on stage anywhere? Are you going to do any of the open mics or join the contest that we have going with Comedy Slam Radio?
Well, that's actually why I was your guest, your surprise guest tonight, because I came in to sign up for the contest, so I will be doing that. And then I'm doing a benefit on November 10th. I'll be hosting a benefit, and there's something else, but I can't remember it, and I'll let everybody else plug
What's the benefit for?
It's for veterans. It is for veterans. It's going to be at the Elks Club on November 10th.
Awesome.
In Tarpon Springs.
All right. And I guess I'm also going to be doing the comedy show, which is at Kickin' Wings in, is it
Hudson,
Newport
Florida.
Richie? It's Hudson, Hudson, Florida. It's $5 for everybody to get in. If you want to compete, I think you got to pay 3 smackers or give Nolan a handy, one of the two.
Something like that.
I paid the $3, I will have you know.
I recommend the $3 myself. I'm doing, I don't know how much of a charity show it is, but I'm going to be working with Maureen Sullivan. She's doing leave it to her to pick a fat guy to do comedy for educational seminar about diabetes. And the nurses are going to come and they're going to be able to earn, I guess it's credits towards their continuing education. And after they learn about that, Fat Davey's going to do some comedy. And other than that, I don't have too much else going on because I suck overall as a comic. But what about you, Gwiggy?
I'll actually be emceeing the comedy contest at Kickin' Wings on the 16th. December 4th, when Comedy Slam Radio goes on the road in the alley or close to Orlando and Sanford. Myself and my radio co-host from Control the Chaos will be hosting that event too. And on December 5th, I'll be at the Improv with Got Jokes, our Improv Troopers.
And actually, this Thursday, I forgot, I'll be at the Pittsburgh Mix doing a guest set there.
Nice.
Yes.
Victor, where are you going to be traveling around?
Let's see. Next, I've got a bunch of shows in New York coming up. And then I'm supposed to go to some festival that I don't remember where it is because I have somebody else who schedules things for me.
Nice.
But actually, this week I'll be at Union Hall in New York on the 7th with Janine Garofalo and Frank Conniff.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Very funny people.
Definitely. Funny people.
Now, I want to have you give one last blast out. Some of the comedians, I mean, obviously you still probably are in the clubs all around New York. Are there any up-and-coming young New York hot comedians that you want to give a shout-out to, that you think people should go look them up on Facebook or YouTube and check out some of their stuff?
That people should go look up and check out right now? There's tons of comedians. One of my favorites right now is this guy, Michael Che. He's super funny. Funny dude.
Great.
Yep. The New York Times just did a story on him. So, I think he was just on Letterman for the first time about a couple of days ago.
Great.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
that's a good
very
guy to
funny
look
dude.
up. Cool. And it looks like we are going to wrap up the show. So I want to thank you very much for taking some time out to come on in. Gwiggy, I want to thank you for stopping by. And I
Anytime.
definitely want to thank Tia for making a surprise visit.
Of
High
course.
five, Tia.
Yes.
Victor, thank you very much for calling in. And, spread the word about how great of a time you had on the Let's Be Frank show with Dave Frank, Fat Davey, the legend. The myth.
You bet.
Oh, yeah.
That sounded almost as sincere as all right, we are gonna go. Listen, guys, Nolan is cutting me off, that mean bastard. I think, you know what, I'm gonna talk through Nolan just for a minute, just to fuck with him. Nolan, can I just talk about you for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And how your long greasy hair, and are you like making noises
He's
in the
eating on-
microphone?
I'm chewing my gum in the microphone. Go on.
That is great. Go ahead and end the show. Victor, thank you very much
Thank
for
you so much,
calling in.
Victor.
And
No problem.
Nolan is a jerk. Everybody on the count of 3, let's just say Nolan
Thanks
is a
for
jerk
listening
as we
to
go
the
out.
Let's Be Frank show on ComedySlamRadio.com. If you missed this show or like to catch up on past shows,
Visit us on Stitcher Radio and iTunes at Let's Be Franks Podcast, and have a great night. We'll see you next week.
What was that? I'll tell you what that was. That was another fine show from ComedySlamRadio.com, where we put the .com in comedy.
What? Wait, Mike, what kind of comeback is that? Make sense. Hey, Victor, you still there? Victor?
Mission is to help this mother, wife, friend, and community.
What you asked me before, what you asked me before, it goes beyond that. You have to study what you're doing too. You're doing something. You're doing a new area.